A sacred tapestry, unraveling the mysteries of Leviticus. The book of Leviticus, often overlooked, holds profound significance. Chapters of intricate rules and rituals. It can seem dense, almost impenetrable at first glance. Why so many details about sacrifices? What purpose do they serve in the grand narrative? Why such a focus on cleanliness and purity? These questions linger as we delve deeper. The answers lie not on the surface, but in the heart of the text. They require a closer look, a deeper understanding. They beckon us to explore a deeper meaning, to uncover the layers of wisdom embedded within. Leviticus is not just a rule book, it is a guide, a spiritual compass. It is a love story, a narrative of divine affection and commitment, a story of a God who desires intimacy with his people, a God who seeks a relationship built on trust and reverence. These laws and rituals are not meant to burden us. They are a pathway, a bridge to the divine. A way to draw near to the divine. Imagine a grand tapestry woven with care and precision. At first glance, you see threads, intricate patterns that seem disconnected, but step back and a magnificent picture emerges, a picture of unity and purpose. So it is with Leviticus. Each verse, each command is a thread in this divine tapestry. Each law, each ritual is a thread. Together, they weave a breathtaking picture of holiness and devotion. Together, they create a masterpiece that reflects the heart of God. This book invites us on a journey of discovery and transformation, a journey to understand God's heart, to experience his presence in our daily lives, to live lives transformed by his love, to walk in the light of his guidance. Are you ready to explore the mysteries of Leviticus? Let's begin this sacred journey together. The blueprint of holiness, unveiling the divine design. Holiness. It's a word that echoes throughout Leviticus, resonating with a profound sense of purpose and sanctity. But what does it really mean? How do we grasp its essence in our daily lives? Holiness is not about being perfect. It's not about achieving an unattainable standard. It's about being set apart, dedicated to God. It's about living a life that reflects his divine nature. Think of a precious jewel. It is set apart, treated with care. It is valued and cherished. So too, God calls his people to be set apart, to reflect his character in every action and thought, his love, his purity, his compassion and justice. The laws in Leviticus act as a blueprint. They are not mere rules, but a divine design for living. They provide a framework for holy living, a guide to navigate the complexities of life. They teach us how to live in right relationship with God and with one another. They foster community and harmony. These laws cover every aspect of life, from food to festivals, from daily routines to sacred celebrations, from sacrifices to social justice. They encompass the entirety of human experience. They are a constant reminder of God's presence, his guidance, his unwavering support, his desire for our well-being, his call for us to live in peace and righteousness. A people set apart, journeying towards the promised land. To understand Leviticus, we must journey back in time to the Israelites, freshly freed from slavery in Egypt, poised to enter the promised land. They were a people on the move, living in tents, dependent on God for everything. They needed guidance, structure, a way to live together as a community. Leviticus provided that framework. It established their identity not just as a nation, but as God's chosen people, a people set apart for his purposes. Imagine the Israelites gathered around Mount Sinai, the presence of God palpable, Moses descending with the tablets of the law. These were not just rules, they were a gift, a way to live in freedom, in relationship with their deliverer. Pillars of worship, sacrifices, priesthood, and the pursuit of purity. Three key themes dominate Leviticus sacrifices: priesthood, purity, each one intertwined, each one pointing to God's holiness. Sacrifices were central to Israelite worship. They were a tangible way to seek atonement for sin, to express gratitude, to draw near to God. The priesthood acted as a bridge, mediating between God and his people. They performed the sacrifices, offered prayers, instructed the people in the ways of holiness. Purity laws governed every aspect of life: food, hygiene, social interactions. These laws served as a constant reminder of God's presence, his holiness, the need for spiritual and physical cleanliness. Section 5. Shadows and Substance. The ultimate sacrifice in the Levitical system. The sacrifices in Leviticus were never meant to be an end in themselves. They were part of a larger divine plan, a temporary measure to address the problem of sin. They were shadows, pointing to a greater reality, a more profound truth that was yet to be fully revealed. The ultimate sacrifice of Jesus Christ. His death on the cross was the fulfillment of what these ancient rituals symbolized. Each animal sacrifice foreshadowed Christ's death on the cross. The Passover lamb, the sin offering, each one was a precursor to the ultimate act of redemption. All pointed to the one true sacrifice that would atone for the sins of humanity. These rituals were a constant reminder of the need for a perfect, unblemished sacrifice. Hebrews chapter 10 verse 1 tells us, "For since the law has but a shadow of the good things to come instead of the true form of these realities," this verse highlights the temporary and symbolic nature of the Levitical sacrifices. Jesus, our high priest, offered the perfect sacrifice once and for all. His sacrifice was not just another ritual, it was the culmination of God's redemptive plan. Through Christ we have access to God, a direct and personal relationship that transcends the old covenant. Not through rituals or sacrifices, which were mere shadows of the true reality, but through faith in his finished work on the cross. This faith brings us into a new covenant, one that offers eternal life and reconciliation with God. Section 6. Echoes of Holiness finding relevance in a modern world. You might be thinking, what does Leviticus have to do with me today? The answer is more than you might realize. While the ceremonial laws are no longer binding, the principles behind them remain timeless. The call to holiness is still relevant. God hasn't changed. He still desires our wholeness, our purity, our transformation. The principles of Leviticus challenge us to examine our lives, our relationships, our priorities. They invite us to live differently, to be set apart, to reflect God's character in a world that desperately needs him. Section 7. A timeless call to purity, embracing holiness in the 21st century. Purity. It's a word that can seem outdated, even irrelevant in today's culture. But true purity is about more than just outward actions. It's about the state of our hearts. Leviticus reminds us that true worship involves every aspect of our lives, our thoughts, our words, our actions. It's about aligning ourselves with God's standards. In a world saturated with impurity, we are called to be different, to stand out, to be beacons of light, hope and holiness. Section 8. The transforming power of obedience, drawing near to God. Obedience is often seen as a chore, a burden, but in reality, it is the key to freedom, to intimacy with God. When we obey God's commands, something powerful happens. We draw closer to him, we experience his love, his peace, his transforming power in our lives. Leviticus teaches us that obedience is not about earning God's favor, it's about aligning ourselves with his will and discovering the joy, the peace, the abundant life that comes from walking in his ways. Section 9. Leviticus, a guidepost on the path to spiritual transformation. Leviticus, it's a book that challenges us, confronts us, but ultimately it points us to the heart of God. It's a guidepost, directing us on the path to spiritual transformation, to holiness, to a life lived in intimate relationship with our Creator. As you delve into the pages of Leviticus, may you discover its hidden treasures. May you experience the transforming power of God's holiness in your own life. And may you be drawn closer to the one who calls you his own.